Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. So we are from Group 3 and we will present about the CAAM Part 66. Basically, it's an aircraft maintenance license based on CAD 1801. So this license is very essential for qualification in individual who wish to certify and maintain in aircraft in Malaysia. So this is my group members, me Najwan, my wife Gugan, Naim, Megnon and Kurisha. So we will begin the deeper understanding about this topic. So for the second slide, introduction, the aviation industry relies heavily on safe and reliable aircraft maintenance, which means must be carried out by qualified and licensed personnel. To support this, the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia has introduced CAD 1801 under KM Part 66, which is outlining the requirement for issue, renew, and varying the aircraft maintenance license. This is effective from 15 November 2022, and this directive to ensure that maintenance engineers in Malaysia are well trained and certified according to the national regulations and international standard set by ICAO. It provides a structured framework for competence, safety, and regulatory compliance across the aviation maintenance sector. So next, we move to the scope and legal authority. Number one is applies to everyone applying for or holding an aircraft maintenance license. This means that the rule in CAD 1801 are not just for new applicants. They also apply to people who already have an aircraft maintenance license. So no matter if you are applying for this the first time, renewing or changing your license, you must follow this rule. For second, follow the rule in Malaysia Civil Aviation Regulation 2016. CAD 1801 is based on a larger set of aviation law in Malaysia called the Malaysian Civil Aviation Regulation MCAR 2016. That's where the legal power comes from. So everything in this directive is backed by official law. Third, breaking the rule can lead to legal action. If you don't follow the rule in CAD 1801, for example, working without a valid license or providing false information, you can be punished by law. This could include fines or other serious action under the Civil Aviation Act 1969. Fourth, this version replaced the one from May 2021. Before this directive, there was an older version. The current CAD 1801 became effective on 15 November 2022, replacing the previous one issued in May 2021. So the latest version is the one everyone must for now follow. Now we move to the aircraft maintenance license category. So actually aircraft maintenance license has four category. So the first one is category A. Category A is about the aircraft maintenance technician. There's a four license for aircraft maintenance technician. First is A1 aeroplane turbine, A2 aeroplane piston, A3 helicopter turbine, and the last one for category A is A4 helicopter pistons. So next is the category B1, which is specialized for mechanical engineer. So the first one is B1.1 for aeroplane turbine 1, and B1.2 aeroplane piston 1, B1.3 helicopter turbine 1, B1.4 helicopter piston. So next is category for B is category B2, aircraft maintenance engineer specialized in avionics. Their work is specialized in electrical system, navigation, radar, and communication instrument. So the last one for aircraft maintenance license category is category C. So category C is more deeper about the aircraft maintenance engineer based on maintenance. They're operating the large aircraft and other than large aircraft.
Good morning. I'm here to talk about the eligibility for applying AML, Aircraft Maintenance License. First of all, the applicant must be at least 21 years old, and he must be English proficient, which has SPM English credit or equivalent, and the applicant must be completed the basic training, not just the basic training, but the basic training under the approved MTO. MTO stands for Maintenance Training Organization. The approval is in CAD 1821, which Part 147 for CAAM, and it must be MTO that approved by CAAM. If you got the basic training there, then you are eligible to apply for AML. And the last one is you must be experienced in relevant category. You might think that if you don't have a license, you cannot work on an airplane, and this is totally wrong. If you are unlicensed, you still can work on the airplane. You need years of experience to get the license. And to work on the airplane, when you don't have license, you need a supervision under the licensed engineer or certified staff. And next, we'll look about the basic knowledge requirements that when you apply for AMLs. And here show the path that what you want to do before you get the license. And first of all, you should have basic knowledge level for each category that you want to apply. Because we have many categories, A1, A2, B1, B2, C, category C, and every category have their basic knowledge levels that you need to achieve before you apply to the license. And next, after you have the knowledge, you can apply the license. You can either apply for issuance or variation for the license, or you want to get the license. And after that, after you apply that, you need to have exam of modules of the basic knowledge about aircraft. And the modules we will see in a later slide. And for the exam, you need to complete it within 7 years of application and under appropriate approved MTO or by CAAM. This is the basic knowledge that you apply for each categories. You can see category A, B1, and B2 have 3 levels of basic knowledge and against each applicable subject. Category C applicant only need to meet either the category B1 or category B2 basic knowledge level. And the level 1 for category A, B1, B2 is the familiarization with the principal element of the subject. And level 2 is general knowledge of the theoretical and practical aspect of the subject and an ability to apply that knowledge. And the level 3, the highest level for category A, B1, and B2 is detailed knowledge of the theoretical and practical aspect of the subject and a capacity to combine and apply the separate element of knowledge in a logical and comprehensive manner. And if you achieve this basic knowledge, you can go further to apply for your AML. And these the 18 modules that you need to pass as to get the license. But not all modules is needed to pass to get the license. It depends on the category that you apply. And the module 1 is mathematics, module 2 physics, module 3 electrical fundamentals, module 4 electronic fundamentals, module 5 digital techniques or electronic instrument system, module 6 is materials and hardware, module 7 maintenance practice, module 8 basic aerodynamics, module 9 human factors, module 10 aviation legislation, module 11A turbine aeroplane aerodynamics structures and system, module 11B piston aeroplane aerodynamics structure and system, module 12 helicopters aerodynamics structure and system, module 13 aircraft aerodynamic structure and system. This is specific for the avionics. And module 14 propulsion, module 15 for gas turbine engine, module 16 for piston engine, and lastly the module 17 for propeller. And you don't have to pass all the modules. It depends on the category that you apply. And finally here is a table from the CAAM Part 66 that see which require modules for your category. Like in B2, B2 is special for AME that under avionics. So you can see for the module 13 is under avionics specific. He need that module to pass and to get the license. And number 4 and number 5, it needs a basic knowledge on the electronics and electrical components so that he can get the license. And you can see here all the red box indicate the required modules for the category that you apply, and including the subcategory B1.1, B1.2, 1.3, 1.4, which for the ME for different type piston, aircraft, and helicopter, and the turbine engine aircraft.
Hello everyone, today I'll be talking about the basic examination standards as outlined in Appendix 2 of CAAM Part 66, which is essential for everyone pursuing an aircraft maintenance license in Malaysia. So let's start with the general examination format. All basic exams are made up of multiple choice and essay question. The multiple choice question or MCQs include a one and two plausible incorrect answer. Each question is designed to test not only factual knowledge but also the candidate's understanding and reasoning. For MCQs, candidates are allowed around 75 seconds per question. Essay questions require more depth and are allocated 20 minutes each. These essays are based on Module 7, 9, and 10. Each exam question has a model answer, which lists all expected key points, and these points are also help examiners identify acceptable alternative response. To pass, candidates must score at least 75% in both MCQs and essay. For essay specifically, the answer must contain 75% of the required key points with no major error. If a candidate fails either the MCQ or the essay part, they only need to retake the fail section. However, if they fail just one question in the essay part, it still counts as a full fail for that section. Another important rule is that penalty marking is not used, meaning points aren't deducted for wrong answers. Also, all modules must be completed within 7 years from the first one. If someone fails a module, they must wait 90 days before retaking it, unless they undergo a special retraining program under CAAM approved organization, in which case they may retake it after 30 days. Finally, there are a limit of 3 consecutive attempts for any module within 1 year period. After that, further attempt must be approval and declared officially. So these rules ensure a fair, consistent and professional standards for all future aircraft maintenance engineer. The 3 slides below are the exam type, the module and the time allocated for each exam. That's all from me, thank you.
Hello, my name is Koim, and today I'll be talking about aircraft type training and examination standards and on-the-job training. So, for aircraft type training, there will be two things, which is theoretical and practical. So, these two things needs to be approved by the MTO, or needs to be validated by the OEM, or needs to be approved by the other CAM organization. Now, I'll be talking about differences training. So, it means that training required to cover differences between two aircraft types from the same manufacturer, as determined by CAAM. A type rating endorsement allow only if the applicant already has the original type rating endorsed or ML or has completed full type training for the original aircraft. Okay, now I will be going to aircraft type training levels. So there will be three levels. The level one, which is the general familiarization. So this one you will be getting overview of airframe, system, and power plants. And on level two, which is RAM and transits or line maintenance. So on this one, you'll be getting basic knowledge of components, servicing, and minor troubleshootings. And the last one, which is level three, is base maintenance. So base maintenance, you'll be getting in-depth knowledge and hands-on maintenance tasks. So on this one, I focus on the aircraft type training standards. So these training standards include both the theoretical element as well as the practical element. So for the theoretical element, the objective is to gain detailed theoretical knowledge of system structures, operation, maintenance, repair, and troubleshooting. It's also included for practical, use manuals and approved procedures, understand inspections and limitations. So there will be level of trainings followed by level 1 to level 3 that I have mentioned earlier. So we also have category C staff that requires only level 1, and in level 3, level 1 and 2 content may be used, but focus remain at level 3 depth. So this duration, minimum tuition hour specified in a reference table. The reference table is that have been given over here, how different types of aircraft uh, needed for how many amount of hours. Theoretical training hours and course justification. So what is tuition hours? So 60 minutes of teaching excluded the breaks, exam prep, and aircraft visit. So apply to full aircraft engine theoretical courses as per CHAAM type rating. And then course duration justification. So training hours must be justified via a training need analysis, which is a TNA, based on aircraft design, maintenance needs, and operation. Detailed chapters, content analysis, per the appendix, the 3.1. So competency mapping to ensure course objectives are met. So if TNA show more time is needed, so the course must be extended beyond the minimum. Special cases and note 30% reduction allowed for non-pressurized piston aircraft, which is lower than 2,000 kilograms, and then helicopter non-large aircraft. Course must be defined and minimum attendance. Maximum hour per day based on human and teaching factors. No certificate if attendance is below minimum. Theoretical training syllabus coverage. So this one is minimal syllabus requirement, must cover all elements specific to the aircraft type, must include additional element due to type variations, technological advancement, new system of procedures. So focus by certification category, we have the BI personnel, emphasized on mechanical and electrical system, and we got the B2 personnel, which is emphasized on electrical and avionics system. So both B1 and B2 must cover relevant engine knowledge per training standards. So this is the content analysis for Appendix 3.1. So on this one, we have theoretical training, so as aircraft type training for practical elements, and then for additional for helicopters. So for theoretical, it covers on wheel brakes, emergency equipment, simple repairs for finishing panels and doors, and then for helicopters is different thing, which is the external cameras, lights or hooks, emergency float bags, snow pads. And then for aircraft type training, it covers on troubleshooting, repairs, replacement, a lot of more of a complicated stuff. And then this content requirement need to be complete at least 50% of the cross task in the provide task table. And then task should represent key aircraft system, varying complexity, which is simple to advanced, realistic maintenance condition. So practical focus on a lot of things, operational installments, significance, real tasks where theory alone is insufficient. And then notes here, no troubleshooting tasks allowed. And then maintenance release, okay, only if task is on approved list. And then multimedia based training, which is the MBT, allowed classroom or virtual if CAAM approved. So this is the appendix showing how they getting approval on the aircraft, on the helicopters, theoretically and practically, on how things in the aircraft have been approved or not. So now we're going to the examinations. So there will be training examination and then the examination standards. So the theoretical examination is a multiple choice question and the time average is 90 seconds per questions. And then the content question match the training level. And then realistic incorrect answer, which is not random. And then numerical questions include common procedure mistakes. So this rule is technically a normal, typical examination, closed book, 75% pass mark per exam, and then number of question, multiple number of question is for A, B, C, and D's, and then at least one question per hour of instrument, proportional to training hours and learning objectives. No penalty marking, face exam not valid unless full criteria met. And then for the practical assessment, it must be conducted after practical training, performed by a qualified assessor, evaluates knowledge, skills, and attitude. And then for the type examination standards, it must be approved by an organization for training before conducting types of examinations. So for written exam, it must be multiple choice format, realistic distractor, and then properly constructed numerical errors. And then for practical assessment, test competence on actual maintenance tasks, must access, and there must be confidence in aircraft system discussion, safe and correct task execution per manual. On syllabus and standards, sample of chapters from section 3.0, and then conscious at the defined training level, and on validity and conduct must pass and complete practical experience within 3 years before AML endorsement. So exam requires at least one examiner. Examiner must be independent of applicant's training and must submit written and signed report, pass or fail outcome. And then lastly, we're going to the on-the-job training (OJT). So where and who? So it must be conducted under an approved maintenance organization, the AMO, for the aircraft type. Assessed by a practical assessor, and for validity window must be started and completed within 3 years before applying for type rating endorsement. So the objective for this to develop competent and experience in safety performance, real world aircraft maintenance tasks. And the OJT content requirement, cross section of CHAAM accepted tasks, and tasks must be represent aircraft complexity and technical input, includes both simple and complex maintenance operation, and then each task must be signed by trainee, countersigned by validators or supervisor, refer to a real job card or worksheet. OJT record must be include name and the DOB of trainee, AMO name and location, while validators, assessors, and their AML numbers, and task completion data, task description and reference, aircraft type and registration, rating applied for. So the verification by CHAAM, So it must be submit detailed OJT worksheet or logbook, compliance report showing has OJT meets requirement.
Next, let's talk about the experience requirements for extending your CAAM Part 66 Aircraft Maintenance License, or we call it AML. To add a new category or subcategory to your license, you need to meet the experience requirements shown in the relevant table. This experience must be hands-on and involve real maintenance work on operational aircraft within that specific subcategory. However, if you've already completed an approved CAAM Part 147 training course related to that subcategory, it is a good news for you is that the required experience will cut into half. So in short, practical experience is key, and completing the proper training can help you get there faster. Now, let's take a quick look at this table. It shows how much experience you need if you already hold one license category and want to add another CAAM Part 66. For example, if you currently have A1 and want to add B1.1, you'll need 2 years of practical experience. But if you're just moving from A1 to A2, it's only 6 months. Each box tells you the time needed, depending on where you're going from and to. Just find your current category in the left column and then look across the row to see how long it will take to move into a new one. Just remember, if you've completed an approved Part 147 training course, the time listed here is cut into half. So instead of 2 years, you'd only need 1 year. Therefore, this table basically helps you plan your next step based on what you already have.
So now let's move on to the CAAM Part 66 ML limitations. Let me briefly explain to you guys what CAAM Part 66 aircraft maintenance licensing limitations are about. The limitations are all outlined in my next slide and also in Appendix 5 of the CAAM Part 66 regulations. They are basically referring to certain areas or modules that a licensed aircraft maintenance engineer is not certified to work on yet. These exclusions limit one's certification privileges under the aircraft maintenance license. Now, it's very much important to understand that these limitations doesn't just apply to specific parts, but they actually apply to the whole compartment of an aircraft. They affect your authority to certify work on the entire aircraft. So, for example, let's say you have limitation in the key modules such as engines or avionics. You basically can't sign off related maintenance jobs in that specific areas. So, in order for one to remove these limitations, you are supposed to go through both theoretical exams and practical assessments to gain advantage on this, to gain approval for this specific parts of maintenance. So in short, CAAM basically aims to ensure all the engineers are fully competent in all required areas before granting full certificate privileges under Part 66. So now we'll move on to the detailed points on the limitations as well as the modules that one has to take. So as you can see here, these are the limitations number as well as the descriptions of each of the limitations. For example, if your ML has limitation number 1, it means you're not certified to work on electrical power generation and distribution systems. So in total, they have 17 limitations. And in the next slide, I'll be showing you the modules that one has to take in order to remove these limitations. And this will be the limitations number as well as the modules required in order to obtain, to remove the limitations that one has. For example, for limitation number 1, which previously we talked about, which excludes electrical power generation and distribution system, you're supposed to obtain module 3, 4, and 7. So that's how it works for all 17 of them. So as you can see here, this table that are provided by CAAM basically a clear roadmap for engineers to identify the modules necessary for upgrading their aircraft maintenance license and gaining full certification privileges. As you can see here, B1.1 is aircraft with turbine engines, B1.2 aircraft with piston engines, B1.3 helicopters with turbine engines, B1.4 helicopters with piston engines, and B2 which is touching about avionics. So each limitation basically corresponds to the excluded systems or areas that I just mentioned. As you can see in the table, this is B1.1, B1.2, B1.3, B1.4. They correspond to each other. For example, the B2 category, which focuses on avionics, demands completion of more electronically focused modules such as 4, 5, 8, 12, 13, and 14. So there are like for limitations involving instruments, autopilot, and communication systems. So someone who's looking to certify their licensing can refer to this table and find out on which modules they have to take to remove the limitations that they have. So in conclusion, to remove any limitation on your CAAM Part 66 license, you need to show hands-on experience and as well as pass all the practical assessment. This experience should match the specific system or module linked to your limitations that you have, like electrical instruments, autopilot, etc. Usually you need at least around 6 months of work on tasks like inspection, servicing, repairs, adjustment, troubleshooting, and more. Basically, they want real maintenance work following the aircraft manual. This proves to your arm that you're competent enough to work on that area.